Do you want to make OpenAI bot work smarter for you? It's all in the art of prompt engineering. Let's find out how better questions and instructions can boost AI responses, making it your best assistant. What is prompt engineering? Imagine hiring a brilliant intern and asking them to research Elon Musk, but without any specifics. Chances are they'll be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information and you'll end up with something useless. Now refine your request. Ask for details on Elon's investments, strategies, interest, and emphasizing reputable sources like Crunchbase or TechCrunch for an investment pitch. And this focused approach will deliver an exceptional report. This precision in your instruction is what prompt engineering is all about. Two main principles of prompting the GPT model. First, clear and specific instructions. And second, giving the model time to think. Now let's look at a few tricks for each of them. These tricks could help to give clear instructions to the bot. They are: use delimiters to clearly indicate separate parts of the input. This helps in telling the model what exact text to consider for action. These could be triple quotes, triple backticks, triple dashes, angle brackets, and example tags. Request structured outputs, making it easier to parse the AI's response. Verify conditions and assumptions before proceeding. Provide examples of completed tasks and ask AI to use that format. Now, next set of tricks could guide model to take time to think. Just as rushing an intern may lead to guesswork, AI too benefits from being directed to consider its response carefully. Example, tell it to look up into specific sources, or take time and answer, or specify steps needed to complete the task. Example, if you're asking the bot to evaluate something, ask it to solve itself without looking at the given solution first and then evaluate. Now, how to write these clear, specific prompts or instructions? There are three simple steps, but an iterative process. First, be clear and specific in your instructions. Second, analyze and refine. If the output misses the mark, refine your prompt. And third, iterate. Continuously improve the instructions to make your output better. These are some of the applications you can improve with better prompt engineering. First, summarization. Get concise summaries for reviews, stories, or articles tailored to specific needs. Second, inferring. Inferring is basically extracting information like sentiments or topics from a summary, leveraging AI's extensive training. Third, transforming. It's basically converting text into different formats, language, or tones. Fourth, expanding. Generally detailed content from brief inputs. So the idea here is to create a bot that reads customer reviews and responds in a very personalized and empathetic manner. I've done 2-3 iterations here that we'll see in a bit. So in this section, I'm basically importing all the modules and the libraries and then setting up connection between our system and OpenAI through this API. And quickly, let's run this. And then moving on to the next section. So here I have defined two functions. The first function is basically get completion from messages. What does this do? We are feeding the user message into it and also telling it that, we'll use GPT 3.5 turbo model from OpenAI. And we are setting the temperature as 0 because we want our bot's response to be more predictive than very random. And then we are sending these information to OpenAI, and whatever result we are getting, we are storing that in response. Let's run this as well. The next function, collect reviews. What does it do? It fetches the user review, saves it in prompt, and then clears it for the next entry. Then what it does, context.append, basically it creates a list of all the conversations that's happening between the user and the assistant and saving it in context, because this whole conversation is going to be used by the assistant to help you throughout the process. Now what we are doing, in context we are storing here, role we are defining a user. In content we are putting the prompt that the user just added, basically the review. So now your context has the user said this review. In the next line, what we are doing, we are calling that function that we had defined previously and sending this context to that function, this function on the top. So what will it do? It will take the review from the user, send it to OpenAI and get a response. And that response we'll then append to the same context. So you see what is happening. In the context object, firstly we are adding the user's review and we are defining, okay, the role as user, the user gave this review. Then we are sending it to OpenAI, we are getting the response, we are appending this response onto the context object with the role assistant. So we have this whole list of conversation that the user said this, the assistant replied this, like that. And this whole conversation history will be used by the assistant in improving the responses. This section, the panel append, this basically will show how your users review and a assistant's response will be shown on the screen. Now moving on to next, this is the review. This is just an example that I've taken, that hypothetically there's a customer called Keith. She bought a really nice lamp for a bedroom from a company called Lumina, and she was super impressed with the whole process of this purchase, and she had a really good feedback she shared with the team. I'll use this review for processing through a bot. So let's go through the first iteration. Here what I've done, I've provided a context to my bot. So context, basically I'm telling the bot that you are a review bot, you are an automated bot who is supposed to read the reviews, understand the key details, understand the sentiment, and create a very empathetic and very personalized message. And this is the context I'm giving to the bot. So you remember like how we discussed that your instructions need to be clear, specific, give examples of how to behave in certain situation, how to respond in certain situation. So those are the principles that I followed here. And if we see further, here basically I'm just getting those input and running the conversation and displaying it in a dashboard sort of format. Let me quickly run this function, run the review and run the first iteration. Now let us run this. So here the dashboard panel that we were discussing about, this is your format. A text box enters and there's a chat button. So what I'll do, I'll quickly copy my review from here and I'll paste it here and I'll press chat. Now the latest review that I've added here is, see, so the user entered this particular review. Keith is the customer and they added this review, which we can quickly read that nice lamp for my bedroom, additional storage, not too high of a price, etc, etc. Now see how the assistant has responded. The sentiment, it's positive. Key details, lamp with additional storage, fast delivery, responsive customer support, missing part promptly replaced. And then the response that the bot has mentioned is, dear Key, thank you for sharing your positive experience with us. Thrilled to hear that you found it a good fit, etc, etc. See that it has picked up all the important details in the review and answered according to that. However, towards the end, if you see, it's written best regards, your name, Lumina customer support. Seems something is missing here, right? Generally when customer support team reaches out to you, they mention a name or something. So here comes our second iteration. So in the second iteration, what I've done, the context that I've added is quite similar. It's just towards the end, what I've added here is, when concluding your message, always specify that you're an AI agent, mentioning your name, review bot. So this is one line that I've added here. Let's run this again. And now let's input our review here and press chat. Let's see what comes up. Okay. Let's scroll down and see what review we have got this time. So they have mentioned positive, lamp with additional storage, things quite similar to the previous message. um, See how empathetic the bot is. Like, we apologize for the inconvenience caused, for the broken string, etc., etc. Appreciate your kind feedback. And towards the end, it's mentioned, best regards, review bot. Now, those are the two iterations. Now let's say we want to fetch these details of, like, what is the sentiment, what is the key details, and any other attribute from these reviews. And let's say we want to collect those information and send it to, let's say, customer care team or the product team for further analysis or further action. I'm copying the context so far, so the conversation so far between the user and the assistant, and saving it in messages. And I am again adding a role to the bot and telling it that, what, I want a response from you that will have a JSON summary of the sentiment and the key details from every review with product or service mentioned. Now I'm also specifying what exactly do I need. The fields should be review type and sentiment type, which whether it's positive, negative, or neutral. List of sentiments, like, let's say if the review seems happy, then those sort of sentiments: happy, angry, disappointed, what, and the list of key details from the review. So here you see I have specified clearly that what steps the bot should take. We are recalling that get completion from messages function, sending our message and fetching the response. Let's see what do we get. So see, I look up the lamp review because this is the review we are talking about. So the key is lamp because we asked for the product or service. The review type is product. Sentiment type positive. Sentiments satisfied, happy, impressed. Key details: lamp with additional storage, fast delivery, response customer support, quick resolution of issues. The better the prompt engineering, the amazing the response that you will get from the